Welcome back to We Weren't Friends in High School, the podcast where I reunite with high school classmates from my graduating class of Wissahickon High School in the suburbs of Philadelphia. I'm Brad Corbett, class of 2001. First and foremost, got to thank everyone, and I mean everyone, for checking out the last episode, 112, with Briannon McQuaid Sujak. So thank you to everyone. Thanks to Briannon for sharing the podcast. I know a lot of her friends and family, maybe all of her friends and family, checked out the podcast. So thanks to everyone in her crew. And if you're not subscribed to the podcast, you can do that anywhere podcasts are available. We Weren't Friends in High School on Instagram, at WWF in High School on Twitter, and I am at REDSHIRTPLAYA, PLAYA. My guest this week is Aram Lee. Aram is Korean, and something that was important to me was that I had equal representation on the show. I talk a lot about race, and just from a curiosity standpoint, and just from a fair perspective, because I know there's other people that listen to the show that didn't just go to high school with me. And so I wanted to make sure I have a well-rounded picture for people who didn't know us of who was actually in the school. But with that also, I have a lot of dumb questions in my head. And just like I might embarrass myself talking to a girl that maybe I'll have a crush with that comes up here, I might also embarrass myself with the first Asian classmate that comes up here, asking him everything that comes to mind about the Asian kids in our school. And so that's what I did. I just kind of let it rip, and not knowing Aram, and really my last memories of him from high school were just that he was quiet. But he was really friendly. And in fact, I think his personality was a little bit more than mine to start. I had just come back from showing my family around the city, and my cousin was in town from California, and she and my mom and I were just kind of gallivanting and doing a little day drinking. I came home, took a nap. Aram was planning on coming very late on this night. Something like 10 o'clock at night. He thought he was going to come down, and then ended up coming down around 8 o'clock. And so I had taken a nap, and I was just waking up as Aram got here. And I think it actually took me maybe a little bit just to clear the cobwebs out of my head. And so I was a little nervous of attacking this. And eventually I was just like, all right, I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to ask this question. I know it sounds stupid and it may sound horrible, but I'm just going to ask her. I'm just going to say it and see how he responds. And Aram was totally cool. Really great conversation that I had with him, and learned a lot. There's a little bit of surprising stuff in here, but it was a really great conversation, and I'll talk a little bit more about it on the other side. So without any more delay, enjoy. Aram Lee. Just give me a test.
Testy.
Yeah, sounds great. So, Aram Lee. Okay, so one of the very important things for me of this show when I started this was to have equal representation of our entire school, right?
Okay.
So I wanted to have black kids, white kids. I also wanted to have Asians, because we had a lot of Asian people in our school.
Yes, we did.
But I don't know shit about the Asian population. I even feel horrible calling it the Asian population.
Well, that's what it was.
It was, but everyone is not just Asian. And now when I talk to Asian people in my everyday life, I don't even call them Asian. I don't even refer them in any way. But I feel like there was no cultural learning about the Asian population. Chinese, Korean, there were some other countries in there. But I feel like I don't know shit about any of them. And I feel like, honestly, our Asian population was very segregated from the rest of the school. Not everyone, but I feel like a large population. And so I'm really interested in learning a little bit about life as someone who's Asian.
As an Asian at Wissahickon.
Yeah, but first thing I want to know is, where were you originally from? Were you from America?
I was born in Korea.
Born in Korea.
Came over when I was 5 and lived in Upper Darby. Came over when I was 7. Went to Stony Creek.
Okay.
And then went through with Wissahickon.
Yeah, so you're in there with everyone.
I was.
Do Do you remember coming when you were coming to America?
Vaguely. I guess from the pictures
Did you speak English?
when I came here.
Yeah.
No,
Not so.
no.
How does that even like? I
So
can't.
I believe I went to ESL, English speaking language, or
Yeah.
I don't know what the
Like-
abbreviation is, but like through kindergarten, probably first grade.
Wow.
But at that age, you're like a sponge. You absorb so much information and you pick up things real quick. So
Yeah.
I don't think it was like it wasn't a big hurdle.
Yeah. Really?
No.
Wow. So a lot of people that I've interviewed so far, coincidentally, we just all had Japanese class.
Uh-huh.
And I just talked to Ryan Dunn, and we were just like, we both kind of crapped out like through high school. After a while, it just got hard.
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of Japanese kids in our
No.
Wasaken. I think Yuka.
Yuka
Kotobi.
Kotobi, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
But
weird.
there was a lot of Korean kids. And
lots of Korean
Lots of
kids
Koreans.
and Chinese. Was there any other part of the population of like the Asian population that you feel like represented?
I guess, do you consider like India?
I don't.
Asian? No, like
I consider that its own. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. Okay. So Korean and Chinese. Did you have American friends when you came here?
when I came here,
Yeah. Once you so now you're in Stony Creek.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
you're taking ESL.
throughout elementary school, Dustin Canner lived in my neighborhood.
Really?
Pam Lacey lived across the street.
Yeah.
No, Dustin Canner and I hung out a lot. Some kids from like Town Line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you went from elementary school to middle school, first of all, were there other Korean kids in your class?
Elementary?
Yeah,
the first
that were doing
I guess
ESL?
my first friend was you remember Manyoung?
Yeah.
The
Man
twin?
Young.
And Man Sang.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. God was just talking about them with the Leia.
Okay.
Yes, the other day.
Uh-huh.
And I was the only one that could remember their names.
Yeah, so they were my first friends at Wasaken.
Okay.
And then,
From elementary.
from elementary, exactly.
Did you feel like a bond with them because they were Korean?
I'd probably say so. Yeah. There's a lot of common things being associated as a Korean. You go to not the same church, but we go to a church that gets together.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much Korean dominated
Yeah.
environment.
When you got to middle school, or at any point, I guess, was there like an influx? Were you like, here's where I'm trying to like see is like, at any point, did you recognize that there's a shit ton of Asians in our school that have just moved here, that aren't Asian American, that came here with their parents as young kids like you did? At any point, did that hit you like, oh, wow, there's like 30, 40 people here?
I always just thought it was normal.
Really?
Yeah,
Man, maybe it is.
it was.
Did you ever pay attention to like race in school?
Yes, but in what way?
I guess when I think about the Asian kids in school,
Mhm.
I picture a group of like 30 kids walking through the hall, just in a group, no one speaking English.
Uh-huh.
When I think of a lot of the black kids in school, I think of a group of kids hanging in the hall,
Uh-huh.
in the corner. When I think of like the cafeteria, I think of a table full of black kids or a table full of Asian kids.
Yeah.
To me, I always thought that was always thought that was super weird. I'm biracial,
Mhm.
so I'm very used to, having a little bit of ambiguity or floating, and
Mhm.
I didn't feel like it floated in any way.
It's
I
not-
ask everyone this black, I ask a lot of black kids this as far as, did you just hang in like the black crews? But I'm especially curious because I did feel like the Asian population,
sort of segregated themselves.
versus like maybe there were 2 or 3 different groups of black kids that would break off. And then I felt like it was a really large group of Asian kids that all hung together.
I think it's because they're just more comfortable around other Asians. There's just more common things, especially with church. Church was a big thing in the Korean community.
Really?
Every Sunday, you know,
I
they
never
would
knew
go to
that.
church, and it was just Korean churches.
Oh.
So it's sort of formed into the clique. Not that the Korean kids didn't want to hang out with the white kids or the black kids, but it was just the more of a comfort thing.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Well, I'm just speaking for myself and the other Koreans that couldn't speak English. So
yeah,
but kids like Matt Choi or Scott Beck or
right,
they got along with everybody else.
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. I have memories of Scott and like Brian Choi and
Brian Choi.
No, Brian Cho.
Okay, yeah, I remember Brian.
Yeah, Brian Cho and like James Yu.
Okay.
Yeah, them throughout school, interacting, being everyday part of society with everyone. But yeah, then when I think of like Man Young and Man San, in like a group, and I don't know, stereotyped is probably the best word. I feel like Asians were horribly stereotyped in school.
Well, somewhat accurate.
Yeah.
Stereotypes are somewhat accurate.
Yeah. I get, they were great with math. Their handwriting was like Man Young and Man San's handwriting was impeccable.
Yeah, they're typewriters.
Yes. Okay, so you go to middle school. What's that kind of like now with a bigger pod of literally we're in pods, but with a bigger group of kids?
I guess
you're only like
the Korean clique just got bigger. I would say. I think it was in middle school where I met, a lot of the other Korean friends that I had growing up, like Matt, like Junmin, like Kidan.
Yeah.
So,
and then did you were friends with like Dustin and like people in the neighborhood? Did you feel like you were able to keep those relationships too? A lot of people, just whatever race, once middle school happens, the neighborhood friends seem to go away for everyone, and you kind of develop.
I think that's what sort of happened. Like as soon as I stopped going on the bus, I see them less. It just works out that way.
Yeah. Why'd you stop going on the bus?
I just had a ride.
Oh. What were you into growing up? As a kid,
I was into basketball.
Yeah.
Played a lot of basketball, video games.
What was American culture like for you? Because
what was it like for you?
For me, obsessive at times. I think I thought that like American culture was as things are, like the way you see it on TV is how you see it. It is how it happens in real life. So all of my like middle school, high school life, I was preparing for that by watching like Boy Meets World and Saved by the Bell and 90210 and shit like that. And that's like legit how I think I thought life would be. I was also an only child.
Okay.
So I didn't have like older brothers or sisters to tell me it's like this or it's like that. And none of my friends had any older siblings older than us. So we were the first. So I didn't have anyone ever to tell me, no, this is what's going to happen or this is what's going to happen. Or
give you guidance.
Yeah.
I had an older brother growing up and I was around him a lot and his friends. So I really never had an issue with, like, do I fit in? I never thought too much into it.
Yeah.
It was what it was.
Did you like cult? Like, were you into pop culture here? Like,
oh yeah,
TV shows, all that shit. Like,
Saved by the Bell. I grew up with that.
Yeah.
Elementary school, Maya the Bee, Doug, all the Nickelodeon show.
Yeah.
Howdy Doody was it Howdy?
Hey Dude.
Hey Dude.
Hey Dude. Yes. Big Hey Dude fan. Salute your shorts.
Yeah, salute your shorts.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah.
When you went to high school, did you start getting a job? What did you do with yourself?
No, I never worked throughout high school.
Really?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, during high school, after school, just go to the library
and do what?
Study.
Wow. Was that parent mandated?
No, I enjoy going to the library. That's where we all just gather together
and spoke Korean.
Spoke Korean,
Yeah.
spoke English. Yeah,
Both.
both.
Sometimes I'm just joking. Sometimes
I
I'm just
know.
being a
I don't
dick.
take offense to that.
All right, good. This is the first time that we've talked and hung out, so I don't want you to think like, oh, he's being an asshole. No, I'm just throwing what I think is a well-timed joke at that point.
Yeah, no.
So you liked learning. Ryan Dunn talked about like he was on the debate team with Rishi, and
I didn't even know we had a debate team.
oh really?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you know about all the other stuff that we had, or were you?
What other stuff?
I don't know. Like there was Key Club, and were you aware of like student government and
Asian studies?
There was Asian studies.
Part
You're
of
in
that.
on that.
And I think in my yearbook, that's pretty much it.
Really?
Asian studies, yeah.
No, I guess when you say that you didn't even know we had a debate team, what I was originally going to ask was he was motivated to study by his friends. Ryan was. And so I'm asking, I guess what I was
honestly,
wondering was,
I've really never studied.
You were just hanging.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh.
It was just more of a social gathering than anything else.
In the library.
Yeah. A lot of fond memories.
What do you do there? Besides speak Korean and English.
Yeah, we did a lot of silly stuff.
In the library?
And outside of the library. Yeah.
Okay.
We made like videos.
Really?
We did stuff like that. Smoked cigarettes.
Okay. A little bad boy activity.
Walked over to Texaco to get chocolate eclair pies.
Yeah.
Those were the times. I guess awesome. It was more in the wintertime. In the summertime, we always go to Winsfront Park.
Oh, yeah. Who were you hanging with once high school started going? Was it the same type of thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
So you
around the same clique.
So then your friends then really spanned like your entire like 7-year of middle school and high school, and then beyond.
Pretty much all of them.
Yeah. What's that like weekends and stuff? Like what's your life actually like as a high school kid? You mentioned like you hang out and play basketball and stuff, but did you play sports growing up? Did you do any type of extracurricular activities?
Well, just amongst friends, not in a
not signed up for
no,
anything.
not like an establishment where like a system.
Dude, that was a pretty sweet life. I gotta tell you, like I had to go to I had to get a job. I had to do activities after school. I had to go to summer camp. It sounds like you were just chilling like all the time with friends.
Yeah, I guess you could consider it that or a waste of time, but
you think it was a waste of time?
No, I don't think it's a waste of time, but it wasn't productive. But
yeah,
I guess with the memories that I have, it was worth it.
Yeah,
I don't regret it.
Yeah,
sure.
Did you have as you were growing up? Did you have something that you thought like maybe I'd like to do this, like going forward? I like this as a hobby. Maybe this is something I want to do.
No, I don't think I was ever really that driven to do anything or to get something done that I needed to accomplish. So I just went with the flow pretty much.
Yeah. What kind of fun memories do you have of that?
Fun memories?
Yeah. Any like good memories that you could share that you remember of that era that doesn't get anyone in trouble or?
I'm sure there is, but since you didn't give me a list of questions beforehand, like
you're not prepared.
Yeah, I'm not prepared.
Right.
I have to brainstorm a little bit.
If it hits you at any point during the night,
I'll bring it up.
Bring it up.
Yeah. Before when you asked me, I was listening to the second episode with Eric Coxon.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just went on Facebook and I just saw that, and then I just started listening to it. I was like, "Oh, it's pretty cool."
Yeah.
Literally the next day, you messaged me, and then I'm like,
dum.
So I texted Matt. I'm like, "Yo, Matt, call me if you're not busy."
Yeah.
And then he calls me. He's like, is everything okay? Like, because we don't speak on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So he thought something was up. And I'm like, no, like Brad asked me to do a podcast with them. He's like, really? It's like, make sure you get the questions beforehand. He's like, you have nothing to gain from this.
Is Matt Choi?
Matt Choi, my PR.
My That's great.
But he asked, he's like, make sure you get the questions, I was like, all right, I'll ask him. And I asked you, and you're like, no, we don't do that.
No questions. We don't do that here. No, No, my mentality with it is like free form. It's on me to make it good, make it entertaining. Girls.
Yes.
Did you date in high school?
I guess not anybody from Wissahickon.
No one from school.
Well, after I graduated, I did.
Mhm.
But while I was in high school, I didn't date anybody from Wissahickon.
Okay.
So giving names really wouldn't.
No,
mean
yeah,
anything.
yeah, absolutely. We don't want to bore people with strangers.
Uh-huh.
What your crew of, like, you didn't hang out in a group of 30, right? We
Actually did, yeah.
Really? So
Yeah.
like a Friday night.
Yeah, we would go drink to a bar.
Wow.
Group of 30.
Wow. All speaking Korean.
All speaking Korean.
Was the crew mix of Korean and Chinese?
No.
It was all Korean.
Yeah, pretty much.
All Korean.
Yeah.
You know, when I started to finally understand a little bit about like group Asian communities, and my mom lived in North Wales for a bunch of years after we graduated.
There's a big Korean community out there now.
Yeah, over by Bell Run, off of North Wales Road. There's like a PNC Bank and the Aussie Market is in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And the PNC Bank specifically had Korean on the sign.
That's where Redners.
Yeah.
Redners.
Yeah. That's where they are.
Yeah.
And that's when I started realizing, and then people started moving into the development. And I started realizing, like, oh, these are like whole families. And this is, like you said, it's like a comfort level. I realized, like, oh, of course, where would they go? Where there's no one else that speaks Korean, or a place that's saying, no, tons of people that speak Korean are actually living here. And that's when that started to kind of make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, before that there was a lot of Koreans over down in Cheltenham, like Fifth Street area.
Yeah.
So, they just sort of came out to North Wales. Yeah. Further down on Cheltenham Ave is Soho.
Yes, there's
chicken there. I that's where we used to go in high school.
Really?
And
down in Cheltenham,
yeah,
into Soho. They're on the list for like best wings in Philadelphia. Period.
Really?
Soho, yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's so, I don't know, worldly. It feels like at 15, 16, 17 years old, I was, going to Friendlies, eating buffalo wings with my friends, watching Sixers games on a Friday night, and you're going to Cheltenham.
Well, back in the day, like when you were 15, 16, 17, it wasn't abnormal to go to a bar and drink.
What do you mean?
It wasn't. Like, it was just
for you.
I thought it was for everybody. But
how do you do that?
Like, DUIs weren't really like heavily like looked at by cops or anything.
But how do you get into a bar at 15, 16, 17?
You just go in. I don't know. Like, I thought it was just the norm, but looking at it now, I wouldn't let a 16-year-old, like, I would think,
right,
like, that's a little off.
Yeah, you mentioned bar earlier, and in my head I'm thinking he must be talking about when he's like in his 20s. Like
bar as in like a Korean establishment bar.
Okay.
Like, so
okay,
they didn't give a fuck who they served to.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Of course things have changed, but back then it was pretty much the norm.
Come on in.
Yeah.
Wow. So was it like party? So here's another person that partied, and like I didn't drink at all, right? None of my friends drank. It wasn't like a thing that I ever did. Is that like a regular thing for you, partying and drinking? Or
not so much partying, but
drinking?
I guess drinking, going to karaoke bars.
Yeah.
Going to those places, meeting different people.
Yeah.
My most fondest memories was in high school. We did have a good time back then.
Wow. Man, I really missed out.
Yeah. Like after I texted you that, I told you give me a day to think about it.
Yeah.
So I think I texted you 2 days after.
Yeah.
I told you I was.
Yeah.
And then you didn't respond for a little bit. I'm like, man, did he get Scott Beck on this? I was like, or maybe he doesn't need me anymore. Here he filled that Korean quota.
Oh my God. No, no, Scott didn't answer. No.
You asked him?
No. I think probably the only other Asian person that I reached out to, and this was a long time ago, like during the summer, was Brian Yoon.
Okay. He lives right around here.
Does he? Because I'm not sure. I wasn't sure when I looked on Facebook. It looked like he lived like in Pottsville or Pottstown or somewhere far.
No,
And
no,
he travels a lot, it seems
Mhm.
like. And so we were playing a lot of phone tag. And at a certain point, like, when you try to get someone,
Uh-huh.
you don't want to be annoying because then they'll never do it. So it got to the point where I thought I might be annoying him by constantly, trying to schedule something
Uh-huh.
with him. So I kind of chilled out on it a little bit.
Yeah, I see him here and there, some
Do you?
like around. Yeah,
Do you? Where do you live now?
I live in Skip Pack.
Okay. Do you like growing up in the burbs and then staying in the burbs? Have you been in the burbs the whole time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm married with 2 kids.
Yeah.
My oldest is 11.
Wow.
My second is 8.
Wow, you've been at this for a long time.
Yeah, I got married when I was 26.
Holy shit.
I know.
Wow. You've been at this a very long time.
11 years.
You've got a picture on your Facebook page with a baby, and
That is my baby.
I assumed.
That's somebody else's?
No, I just assumed. But that's not like a baby from now. Is that a baby now?
No, I haven't really updated Facebook.
That's
or
what I
anything
mean.
In a while.
That's a
so
10-year-old picture.
at least, yeah.
Or 8.
Oh, yeah. About
8 or
that.
11-year-old picture.
Yeah, she was born in 2008,
Wow.
and we got married in 2008.
Wow. So what did you do after high school?
After high school, I went to Pitt, Bradford for about 2 years.
Mhm.
Came back down, came back home. Went to auctioneering school.
Auctioneering school?
Yeah,
Like to be like
an auctioneer.
like the fast talking.
Yeah,
Get the fuck out of here. That's so different.
yeah, it was different.
Wait, how does that happen?
It just happened. It was just suggested, and it's just something that I just got into. And then I started an auction company. Ran that for about a year while I had a secondhand shop that's been going on for about 15 years now.
You have a secondhand shop?
Yeah,
Where?
Norristown.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it called? Do you want
Oz
to promote?
Garage.
What's it called?
Oz Garage.
Oz Garage?
Yeah. So while I was doing that, did auctions. It became too much of a burden, so I sort of stopped doing the auctions. I do want to get back into it one day, but
Were you going to like Storage Wars type of stuff?
no. At first, we would be going to auction houses, buying merchandise,
Mhm.
but it's sort of evolved to people bringing stuff in,
Into you guys.
more like a pawn shop without
Yeah.
the pawn.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, that's so cool. So we have a lot of stuff like that around here that I enjoy going
Mhm.
and talking to people about. They always make me feel like my stuff might be worth something that I could come.
well, I
bring
could take a
them
look at
for-
it.
I-
I'm a
lot of-
licensed
a lot of it
auctioneer and
is-
appraiser.
A lot of it is right here in this room.
Let me see if there's any. I was eyeing the WWE videos. They're gonna be worth something.
The VHSs are worth something there. Wow, that's so cool. Were you handy at all? Do you ever have to like fix stuff to get it up to value?
Oh yeah, all
Yeah.
the time.
So are
Clean
you
it up,
Where did this come from? That's such a, I don't know. I don't want to say weird because I don't want to say that, something like is weird, but that's such a different
Yeah,
thing.
pat that. Oh, for sure.
Where does that come from?
Comes from within. No, I don't know where it comes from. It just came up, and then I just went with it.
You're so nonchalant about like the most like interesting job choice. Were you into like stuff as a kid? Were you into like collecting things or
I always
secondhand
grew up
stuff?
collecting baseball cards, football cards, comic books, but I don't think I really had a passion for it.
Yeah.
But
That's what I mean. Like I don't know. You didn't do any like organized sports. You didn't have a job. You hung out and drank. And then you're like, I'm going to start a secondhand shop and be an auctioneer.
well, it was also through family
Okay.
as well, and it just worked out that way. I really can't tell you why I went that path, but
Yeah.
just the way it ended up.
That's interesting. So you had the shop and then you became an auctioneer?
Sort of at the same time.
Okay.
I was going through school. You have to have X amount of hours and then be an apprentice for X amount of hours, and then you take the test to become an auctioneer.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long does that take? Was that hard?
No, it wasn't hard, but probably took about 2 years.
Wow, that sounds like dedication. A little hard.
Yeah, I was dedicated. I enjoyed it. It's a good learning experience. You know, getting to deal with a lot of different things. So
Can you talk fast?
yeah, it's been a
Wow.
while since I chanted.
Yeah.
But
Why
I
did
can give
they
it a
do that?
shot.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you want me to sell?
Can you sell this keyboard?
The keyboard?
Yeah.
Okay. Man. Right, starting to go where? What do you get 10, 10? What do you get 5, 2.5? What do you get down and go 1? What do you get 2, 2, 2? What do you get 2, 3, 2? What do you get 3, 3, 3? Little bump it 4, 4, 4. What do you get 5? I have 5 here. What do you get 5? I'm a little rusty. So.
Dude, that's so good. I've never seen that live. I feel so lucky to just get that live right now. I'm a huge Storage Wars guy, and I
if
love...
you're gonna edit it, you know, I like to redo it.
You can redo. If you want to redo it, I'll put that part back in.
So I did that for a little bit, and this past February, me and my cousin opened up a vape shop, smoke shop. Good Vibes in Bensalem,
That's awesome.
across the street from Wawa.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. What got you into vape?
I have a cousin down in Florida who has a store.
Okay. And you just thought, I could do this. I want to do this.
Yeah, I sort of have an interest in it, and it's just another, I guess, thing to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, you're so nonchalant with your interests.
because I am. I don't know.
You're also, yeah, it's amazing. You're just so like, yeah, I think I'm just going to do this.
Yeah,
But
and
then you
worked
do
out.
it. You do it like all the way. Like you're owning the shop.
Yeah, like I do it, but it's, I don't know.
Not passionate about it.
I guess I am passionate to a certain extent, but you know, it's not my biggest interest.
What's your biggest interest?
My family, friends.
Same thing as before.
Yeah, things don't change. I don't know. I've dealt with a lot of materials, like a lot of different things. So material wise, like I'm not really.
Yeah. Not a big deal.
Yeah, not too interested in it.
Sell that shit.
Yeah.
That's it.
My goal is to retire in the mountains, you know, just be alone.
Where in the mountains?
Anywhere.
Any-
Anywhere that I could be isolated and just do my own thing.
Really?
Yeah.
With the family or without? Do you want to take a break from the family and then come back from time to time?
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. That's like one of my like deep dreams is like get a cabin out in the woods or something, mountains, like out in Colorado that's away from everything commercial, and just have a spot where I can go and hang for like 3 to 6 weeks at a time, and then come back into civilization and, you know, reassess and come back, and then, hey, leave it again. And
that's ideal. Like I want to just be isolated, just do what I like to do, like make things, and not really have to deal with people on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, when I guess when I think about high school, I think of you as like a quiet person,
which I probably was.
Yeah. So I don't know, when I saw you today and you're like, "What's up?" And like I was like, it was like, but that's like more excited than I've ever seen. You know, more emotional than I've ever seen you before. So now when you're talking about like, you know, isolation and just like I like, yeah, that's kind of like how I
guess that's where I fit in a little bit more.
Yeah,
a little better.
Listen, that social shit can be for the birds from time to time, and it can be very empty at the end of the
day.
Like
I am a social person. I am an extrovert, but I don't know. I sort of want to be alone now.
Well, I had no idea you've been at it for 10 years with family life, 10 plus with family life and everything, man. I think anyone that's been doing that for that long and raising kids and all that would say the exact same thing. You know, need a break. Would love to go away somewhere without the like, well, you want to take the family? Like,
no, like my idea of a vacation is with the family. You know, I do want to spend time with them because I really don't get to spend a lot of time with all the stuff that's going on. But no, I'm working towards that.
Yeah. Where did you get like this business acumen before we talked? Before we
Well,
came upstairs, you were talking about stock. Now you're talking about you own this. You had the smoke shop. You have the
I
second.
really had no other option. I didn't like have a degree to get into a corporation or WWE or anything like that. So I just went into what was available to me.
Yeah.
So
How did that become like? How does most people just go and get a job at an hourly wage? They don't
mhm.
say, I'm going to get a building and start a business where I have to also get inventory.
Yeah, of course there's risk, but that's life. You just got to take the risk and
Where does that come from?
calculate the risk.
But where do you think of that? Did you want to be a business owner? Did someone say like, "Hey, you could do this"? Was your family owners, business owners, to where you just thought, "Oh, I could do this too"?
Well, like Koreans in general are like business owners, like grocery stores, dry cleaners,
Yeah.
typical Korean businesses. But
So it's
so
just in your blood.
I guess it's in the blood.
That's
No.
so wild, dude. Like, I wish I had. Listen, I have like a million ideas that go through my mind. Probably in
Mhm.
the last year and a half, this podcast is the only thing I've actually put into operation
Uh-huh.
of those ideas.
So
And
how long have you been
so
doing it?
this podcast,
Yeah.
I've been recording since May, but I've been thinking about this since last St. Patrick's Day when I ran into Dan Cassidy at the bar.
Dan Cassidy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ran into Dan Cassidy at the
Where
bar.
PJ Willian?
No, out here. I run into everybody out here. I was showing some good friends of mine around Fairmount.
Hmm.
They were house hunting. They were just coming to town. And so we were over in Bishop's Collar over by Fairmount having some drinks and some lunch, and ran into Dan Cassidy. And he's with his fiance, and he introduces me, and we hug, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" We're just kind of talking about
Uh-huh.
life, and we hug again, say goodbye to his fiance. We walk out of the bar. My friend's like, "Oh, is that a good buddy of yours?" I look at them and I say, I've never talked to him in my life.
But hugged him twice.
Hugged him twice. And they go, "We thought that was like your best friend." I go, "I've never talked to him ever. It's the first time I've ever talked to him. I've known him since like fifth grade."
Uh-huh.
And that's when I just started thinking. Later that night, I saw Mr. Hood at the baseball game, the old band instructor.
Don't know.
He didn't do band.
I didn't.
And I just continue. I told you I ran into Ellen and Tui when I was getting a tux fitting.
Uh-huh.
I run into Kevin Rogers
Okay.
and Amar a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I see
around
him.
here.
I see him around like
Mhm,
PJs.
mhm.
I guess at PJs you see a lot of the Wasagan people
Sure.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ran into Chuck Belsterling.
Yeah.
You remember him?
Mike Clyburn brought him up. They were in a band together. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. How do you feel on vaping? I feel like it would be irresponsible to talk about the vaping without talking about like what's happening right now with everyone
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about vaping.
Yeah, I definitely feel the hit from the news,
Mhm.
but it's out of my control. So I don't think too much of it. I just try to do the best I can do.
Yeah,
Hope it works out.
man, that's wild.
I could understand the concern,
Mhm.
but there's also, a backstory that
More
most people don't know.
more to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have other? I feel like you're not a person that just sits with one thing. Do you have other things that you want to do
Oh, of course.
from an ownership standpoint or a
Yeah,
career
there's
standpoint?
there's always things that I want to do.
Mhm.
The problem is I just don't do it. Like I always have ideas, but just getting into, action
Yeah.
is the harder part, like making that first step. So
Have you gone to Korea since you've come home?
I went back in 2006.
What was that like?
Uh, it was a good time. It was a good time. A lot different than how it is here.
Mhm.
But for me, it's not a place that I would want to live or raise my children in.
Yeah.
But as a teenager or, in the 20s, as a single person, it's ideal.
Yeah.
For sure,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay.
It is ideal.
Okay. Ideal. Not just good. It's
Yeah,
ideal.
ideal.
That's cool. You said you have brothers,
I have one brother,
one brother,
Mhm.
and no sisters,
no sisters.
and he's older.
Yeah, 16 months older.
Oh, that's not far at all. So was he with us?
Yeah.
Oh,
He graduated in 99.
okay. 2 years ahead.
Yeah.
All this I never knew about you.
You never asked.
I know. So, one of the things I always think about is like the different class structures of high school, cool kids, nerds, whatever. Did you ever feel like you fit in to anything like that? Did you feel like you were a cool kid or an outcast or?
Well, I never really thought of it like that. Everybody just has their own.
Yeah.
There's the people who have this interest and that interest, and they just sort of migrated towards each other. I never really thought like, oh, they're better than me or worse, or it was never like that. It was just like they just have different lifestyles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like you didn't belong with near a certain group or with a certain group? Or...
Well, I knew I wouldn't fit in certain groups just because we just had different interests. It was nothing like I didn't like them or anything like that. It's just,
yeah,
not everybody meshes.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, you're so even.
I guess so. Yeah.
Were you always like, honestly, you felt like you were like that in high? I don't, I wish I could call you out and be like, dude, you were not like this in school. But
well, like, I'm trying to remember of course I remember you from high school or middle school. Yeah. I don't know where you went.
Middle school. That. Yeah. I was in Shady Grove.
But I don't remember any classes with you. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember any interactions with you.
Yeah. I just remember.
But I remember you. I do remember you.
Yeah. And I didn't even mean like with us specifically, because I don't think we had like any issues. But I think,
Did you have any issues with
you?
No, with me. Like, did you have issues with me?
No, with you, no. But I do think I don't know. I don't think racist is the right term, but I think I was definitely like in a bandwagon of, the Asian kids or get the fuck out of the hallway or, shit like that. You guys took up a lot of space. Guys,
we did.
Yeah, you guys would roll like 40 wide across the hallway and you would walk really, really slow through the hall. And so I think I was definitely.
I was probably not
in that group
walking with them. Yeah.
I think I was definitely in that group that would be like, the Asians, quote unquote. And that's just check of one of the things that I think back and I think, God, fucking 20 years ago, I can't believe I like talk like that or I thought like that but I definitely think that like the large overall population.
So you didn't like that aspect that there were too much of a clique.
Yeah, correct. But like I said, would you have told me, like, you didn't ask. I never made that type of an effort to meet anyone on an individual basis, to get to know anyone on an individual basis, to ask them an individual question. I think I just, in my mind, not even in my mind, in reality, I took and I said, group of Asian kids, I have nothing in common. That's that. Like.
Yeah. So what clique did you belong in?
I think I was in like not a cool kid crew, not the smart kid crew.
Who's the not cool kid? So who was your friends?
I don't mean like we weren't, I don't mean like these kids were losers, but we weren't in like what you would call the cool kid crew. So I used to hang out with like Ray Campion and Scott Ritter and Josh Taylor, and
Scott Ritter was always with was it Darren?
With who?
Who's that black kid?
Larry Dyson.
Larry Dyson.
In middle school. Yeah. He never made it to high school with this. He went somewhere else.
No.
But yeah, Larry Dyson.
You know who I sort of hung out with after high school? Javier. You remember Javier?
Javier Marquis.
Yeah. Javier. We went to some salsa. I guess it wasn't salsa. It's like margarita.
Yeah.
He could dance.
He's a big time dancer.
Yeah,
he's shout out to Javier and Nicole.
Javier, you should get him here.
I would love to. He's down in Miami. I'd love to take a trip down there and grab an interview with him. You know Nicole? You know about Nicole?
Nicole who?
His sister, Javier's sister, Nicole Marquis. No. So do you know the Hip City Veg restaurants? So there's all these vegetarian restaurants that are here. There's one in DC and there's a few other that have been busted. There's a couple here in the city. And that's all his sister. Really successful.
Oh, nice.
During the last presidential campaign, Elizabeth Warren was known to, go there a lot and take pictures and selfies or whatever and promoting like clean eating, healthy eating, all that stuff.
Elizabeth Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Is that who you like?
I don't like any of them, if I'm being completely honest.
You don't like the Asian guy?
I do like Yang. I do like Yang. I hate that everyone makes fun of him. I don't like his last showing where he made tons of Asian jokes. The first Asian joke where he made the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian guy that likes math. I thought that was a home run. But then he kind of like the next debate, he brought out another Asian joke and he had like 3 in one debate. And I thought like, I don't like people.
I think he's just saying it to make light of it.
Yes.
Not to take it too seriously.
Yes. I don't like it being made light of that much. I guess it feels like low bar humor.
You feel offended?
It's too much. I feel like it's low bar humor. I'm a weird humor guy. I hate like poop jokes and fart jokes and yeah. And like
I would have thought the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
I seem like a poop guy to you.
Yeah.
Really? No, not so much. And yeah, and like sometimes race jokes, like when it's good, I like it to just sit there and be its own thing. Like I love a good race joke if it's funny, but when you keep doing it, now it feels a little more planned, a little bit more rehearsed. So I liked it when it felt a little more off the cuff. Now it feels like he's coming with his gang of Asian jokes. You know what I mean? His book of Asian jokes, and that's not as impromptu for me.
Yeah.
I like him. I like the ideas that he has. I don't know.
Yeah, no, the ideas that he has, I like them all.
Can you vote?
No.
Really?
I'm a permanent resident. I'm not a citizen yet.
Oh, wow. Yeah. How about your wife? Is your wife a citizen?
Yeah, everybody else, my parents, my brother, they're all citizens. I just never went through the steps.
Never did it, so you can't vote.
I really felt that I really needed to go that route.
Do you feel so like when Obama voted? I remember.
If he's giving $1,000 a month, yeah, I'm going to get my citizenship. But
well, do you feel? I don't know. It was big for me to vote for Obama in 2008. I didn't live in the state, and I remember sending in an absentee ballot because I was living in Connecticut and I hadn't changed my address, and so I was like, I remember sending a text to my mom and saying I voted for the first Black president. Do you feel like any type of, I don't know.
I like Obama. I liked him, but I didn't like him to the point where I needed to get my citizenship to vote.
But for you don't feel that for Andrew Yang either, though, where you go like, wow, the first high profile Asian candidate, I would love to. He ain't gonna win, right? We know he's not gonna win, but do you feel you don't feel any type of like push to vote for him? Feel
like his plan and his idea is the way it should be.
Yeah.
And I agree with him in that aspect. So I do like him in that sense. I just don't know how much change he could really bring.
Right.
Yeah, that's why not that I like Trump, but I like the fact that he got in to, shake a little things up that's wrong with the system.
That's what I liked about Bernie. I thought a lot of Bernie's plans were not doable, but I thought he could get things moving along to a place to where it would break certain things in the system to where you have no choice left but to fix it now. That's what I really enjoyed about Bernie.
Yeah, I was a Bernie guy last election, not so much now.
Yeah,
but like his intention is his roots are very pure and good. It's for the people.
Yeah,
that's what I like about him. I can't really agree with his plans, but it's also like opposite with Trump. Like I don't really know what he really did here. As in like Trump.
Yeah,
but the only thing I don't like about Trump is that he's not there for the people.
Right.
That's the only thing. But I don't also take that in a bad way. I think maybe it's needed here.
That's interesting. That's a pretty interesting
because the system's already flawed. Like
like
with lobbyists buying politicians, getting laws passed in their favor. There's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with what's going on. And Trump, I thought would have shaken that things up a little bit.
As a small business owner, have you felt difference with Trump? And for you, I'm interested. Just that's what everyone.
No, I think politically, like, because no matter who's president, I'm still going to be working. I'm still going to be doing the same stuff. It's just more personal. than anything else. You know?
Yeah.
But, which I don't really take too personally. So.
Right. Nothing. You don't seem to take anything like too personally.
So what's your normal Saturday like?
Totally random. Yeah, single guy.
Like,
so
what do you do? Go on Tinder and all that?
Oh, for dating? Yeah, sometimes I'll go on Tinder, but Tinder is pretty shitty. I think Tinder is filled. Tinder for a guy in their 30s is pretty hard because most girls don't talk.
To 30 some. How old are you? 36?
36. They just don't talk. They're just not like, talkers. In my head, most girls are just being bombarded with dick pics on Tinder. There's so many girls, dude, have just so many disclaimers on their Tinder account where it's like, no, I don't want to see your dick, or don't set up a date and then text me 10 minutes before and say, hey, I can't come out, but if you want to come over, that's cool. Like, guys. Is that
their disclaimer, or is that their message to you?
No, that's their disclaimer. That's their disclaimer on their profile page. They say all that right there. Like, guys will just, cancel or try and cancel and try and get them to just come over to the house and just show the dick pic, like whatever. And it's just, so girls just have all these disclaimers up there. And it's like, and then on top of that, it's, I'm not just looking for a hookup. Like, who goes out with someone knowing that they want to get married?
Who goes on Tinder?
Who goes on Tinder? Exactly.
Without that intention.
So, that's the other thing, is that a lot of people, I think because it's easier to make a profile on Tinder, a lot of people started going on Tinder looking for relationships. And so they all say, don't want to hook up, not here for a hookup. If you're here for a hookup, swipe left, blah, 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 blah. And they're all on Tinder with these long ass profiles. I'm thinking, wow, if that's not what you wanted, should have gone on eHarmony.
Or Christian Mingle, or
something
that's more serious.
Coffee meets bagel, something. But Tinder, I feel like had an aura. I also think it's different when you're younger. I think if you're like 22 and you're on Tinder, people are just there for sex.
But I guess I got married
before all that.
So I never really got to experience the I guess the social media, or the internet.
It's a jungle out here, and you just never know what you're running into. I had a date with someone before we even had the first date. She's telling me that she just got out of a relationship, so that's like a red flag.
And he's a UFC fighter.
It's Chuck Liddell. And I'm like, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I'm trying to just be like, hey, I'm just looking to like, and I'm also the type of guy, like, I pay. I don't do this. We're not going Dutch. I don't do this. You buy your drinks. You're coming out with me. I asked you to come out. I'm going to pay for whatever's happening here. So that's just how I rolled. Even if the date's going horribly, I do it. So I get there, and she just got out of a relationship, has a kid, which is fine.
Did you find all this out on the date?
Sitting there with her across the table. Has a son, which is fine. Co-parents. Lives with her ex-husband because they couldn't afford to get the official divorce.
Okay.
So they're still married, live together. He's got 3 other girlfriends, but won't move out. So they co-parent and co-live together.
He's got the life.
He's got the life. And previous to them being separated, they were in an open marriage, which is where she met this boyfriend that she just got out of the long-term relationship with. And that was just like, so many things are just thrown at me. And I'm just like, well, I hope you enjoyed the drinks and the oysters, because I gotta go home. I just have things I have to do.
And that was it.
Yeah. And that is, it can go from that to, I don't think I've ever like dated anyone more than, a month off of Tinder. I had a little bit more luck with OkCupid, but they ask you a shitload of questions. And once I was off of it a while back, I never got back on it.
So did you date anyone from Wissahickon?
Never. I never dated in high school.
If you did, who would you?
Who would I have dated?
Who would you have liked to?
Oh, God, everyone.
They could be listening and be sing.
No, they're all married. They're all married.
All married?
Yeah, pretty much. Every year was someone different. And I don't have necessarily a type. I remember so I said in the first episode that Mrs. Castor's calculus class was like my favorite class.
Uh-huh.
And in that class, I just had really pretty girls, you know, Katie Evelyn, Steph Schneck,
Okay.
Steph Berkey, Steph Hughes, a lot of Stephs.
So you like the Stephs?
I like the Stephs.
Okay.
Amy Jaskowiak. And I was starting to come into my personality a little bit more. And the big thing that everyone used to say was, I'm funny. That's what like Katie Evelyn used to like, you're so funny. You're funny. And I used to come home and I would like talk to Scott Ritter. I'm like, she said I'm funny. What's that mean? And he'd be like, yeah, you're funny, Corbett. You're funny. And I was like, oh man, maybe I can work this into something. But I never figured out Brooke Johnson was in that class. I never learned how to transfer that into getting it out of we're just in class together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then college, once I started having more friends, and then you're just kind of in those groups together. It even still took me like a few years, you know, to like really start dating. I probably didn't really truly like bust out like that till I was like
too late.
Yeah, not even too late. I feel like I told someone else this. I feel like I'm still trying to live my teens and my 20s through.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Get it out of my system. Yeah, I mean, I'm single. I mean, so
it was the best years of my life, you know.
Yeah,
so.
Why live like I'm 36 if I don't have to?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I probably didn't start like really breaking out until I was like 26, 27. Once I moved up to Connecticut, and you know, and I think also it's a little bit of a self-esteem thing. I have a real thing with like, I feel like I feel like I can't lie about who I am. And so if I don't feel good about the place I'm in, career-wise, financially, I feel like it has an effect on how I carry conversation with people, women especially. I don't feel like I can lie. And if the first question is going to be, well, what are you doing? And then it's like, oh, well, I don't really have a job, or, you know, just kind of working through things right now, or whatever. It fucking kills it. And unfortunately for me, the course in my head is I see things way too far ahead of schedule. And so I had that conversation. I had played that scenario out in my head.
So you weren't ready to get into it until you were ready in other aspects.
Yeah, until I felt like I had like a job that fit my age, or I lived, you know, on my own, or and I moved a lot, you know, through my. I tell you, every summer I used to leave and go to the beach, and you're just partying. And then I would come home and I'd be home for a semester, you know, 6 months, 7 months, and I leave again, and then I went to Connecticut, where I traveled 4 days a week.
By yourself?
Yeah, I moved there by myself. Yeah.
And you didn't know anybody out there?
In Connecticut? No, I moved there for WWE. I didn't know anyone.
Oh, that's a life I could probably envy. You know? Yeah.
It was, you know, it's funny because I'm an only child, so I'm a very single,
independent.
Very independent person. And I think I struggle more with the image that I should be doing blank, or I should be hanging out with blank, or I should be dating blank. I struggle more with stuff like that. So I just don't think I haven't balanced the lack of selfishness that comes a lot of times with a family or a relationship. And so I've never popped the question. I've never looked at a ring. I just got done 6 weddings over the last 12 months.
What do you mean 6 weddings?
You
participated?
Yeah, like in a couple, going to some, 6 over the last 12 months. And like I ask people, I go, man, like the ring and all, like that's such a grown up thing, and I'm not anywhere near there. Even the idea financially to like section off money and say like I've got to pay off this wedding ring, or like I'm nowhere near that.
Save money for college.
Yeah,
not for you, for somebody.
Right. Like I'm so selfish in that way. Like I think a couple weeks ahead at a time, and that's about it. And you got to do more than that when you're going to be in a relationship, get married, have kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So this is still what I'm doing. Just,
you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, everybody has different paths, you know. Happiness is not the same for everybody, you know.
Did you you were young, you were 26. Did you feel like you were ready?
I don't think you would ever feel ready. After getting married, really nothing really has changed. But when you get your first kid, you know, that's when you look at your significant other a different way,
Mhm.
you know, more like as a mother to your children than to,
It's not just about your relationship.
yeah, exactly.
So now is your where what school district are your kids in?
Perkiomen.
Perkiomen. So now as
He
you're
goes to
raising
Impact
kids and
Elementary.
they're starting to head, 11, she's in middle school.
6th grade. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you're starting to now raise what we just talked about.
exactly.
But world's so different now. Are they going to hang in a group of Korean kids?
I guess fortunately or unfortunately, there is not a lot of Korean kids in Perkiomen Valley.
Okay.
So, but it's a nice little area, nice school district.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm happy.
Do you want them to, do you have wishes and dreams and hopes for them? And
Oh, of course, but they're going to take their own path. What I stress the most is, just do what you like to do,
Mhm.
what you're passionate about, and not just don't chase the money or anything else. Just do what makes you happy.
yeah.
At the end of the day, everything else will come with it.
Yeah.
So
Dude, that's so, you're so even keeled. And
yeah, I guess you could look at it that way, but
are you happy? Are you happy in life? You happy with life?
it's subjective. Like, I guess I am happy, but there are aspects of my life that is not great.
Mm.
But it is what it is.
You don't harp on it too much.
No, it doesn't really do me any good.
Did you have a favorite class in school?
Favorite class? I had favorite teachers.
Okay.
I like Mr. Curcio.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Miss Castor was one of my favorite teachers,
Mhm.
even though she wasn't always nice to me. But
Mrs. Castor.
Mr. Milio, even though he has a
history, a past.
history. Yeah.
Might pull that
No,
one
but
out.
no, I always liked Mr. Milio.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a cool guy. Yeah, but I loved my experience at Wissahickon. It was a good time.
Yeah. So you did enjoy it.
Yeah, everybody was, for the most part, good.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have any problems with anybody.
You're like, so I don't know. The secondhand store still going?
Yeah, it's still going.
You were looking at my art in the bathroom and stuff. So I was telling you, like, I bought the art in the bathroom out in New Orleans, and downstairs, random thrift shops that, I just kind of find stuff, or they catch me, 90% of stuff I've bought here, I've been drunk when I buy it, street festival, whatever. But I do love going into thrift shops and just kind of finding, especially Philly centric stuff. But anything that kind of hits home to me, what kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's pretty much my line of business that I was in, or that I'm currently in still. But we don't just take stuff. Like, we buy everything that we take in.
Yeah, you're not pawning it for
like, and they're not like donating it or anything
Right.
like that. So the stuff that I purchased thinking that I could resell it, like flipping it. So I've had my hands in a lot of different things, like from tools to appliances to furniture to electronics to collectibles, antiques. So a wide range of items that I familiarize myself with, and it is pretty cool to get in the lives of a lot of different people, different aspects of life.
What's the worst thing that you've bought that you just go like, oh, I want to do something with it, and then you just couldn't flip it, couldn't fix it up, couldn't get rid of it?
Pretty much everything that's at the store right now. Like everything that I could flip,
It's
goes
gone.
to next. Yeah, it's gone. So
Yeah.
So
Do you find with do you do online stuff? Even do you find like with that it does it kill the brick and mortar model with online?
Sure,
stuff,
but like I guess it destroys certain aspects of certain businesses. But like as a business, you always have to adapt to what makes you money, right? Like if the store's not being profitable, you gotta look at other avenues. Initially, I didn't do a whole lot of online sales, but then it sort of evolved into that, because that's where that's where the money was. So.
Yeah. There's a local shop off of South Street. It's a pawn shop, but they're not really open a lot because they sell most of their stuff on eBay. And if you go in and say,
well,
hey,
eBay is not the same as it used to be. So like I did a lot of eBay, but then for the same products, I wasn't getting what I expected eBay to bring. So I would list less items there and then transition more to Amazon. Amazon is doing very well. Yeah, for sure.
Of course, everyone's on Amazon.
Yeah. So I would sell a lot on Amazon, and a lot of different ways to sell it. Like with music instruments, I would put it up on like Reverb. So they deal specifically with music instruments, with like antiques, and like I had like a Civil War journal. I gave that to Alder for auction, and I had them sell it. So just knowing where to like have your items to sell, where to put it, is probably key.
That's cool. What's the coolest thing you've been able to sell?
I don't know. I sold a lot of like stuffed animals, taxidermy stuff.
Yeah.
I personally thought it was cool just looking at it. At one point, I had a big moose head. You know, the ones you see at like Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah.
Like on top of the fireplace.
Yeah.
Like, I had one of those. You know, like the Civil War journal. I had like a 12th century samurai sword. You know, a lot of World War II memorabilia. A lot of coins, currency, like dinosaur fossils, like tooth, like come across wide range of stuff.
What's the easiest thing? You see it and you go, "Yep, I know exactly where that's going. I know how to how much."
Tools generally.
Tools.
Yeah, a lot of higher end tools bring good money. Like, good tools bring good money.
Yeah,
and there's always a demand for it. So
tools, yeah.
So those were. It's sort of token like I focus more to that, but like when I first started, it was more like furniture and stuff that I thought it was cool, but it doesn't mean that everybody else thinks it's cool. So.
Right, it takes up a lot of space too, right?
Yeah, and then there was a time where it was more stuff that was more of a necessity than like refrigerators, like appliances, like stuff like that. So, so it's always evolving.
Yeah,
to fit the need.
I told you so. I don't adult much, so to see adulting happening in this way.
No, you work for WWE.
I did, but that's not adulting.
So did you meet any famous wrestlers? Like, did you meet The Rock?
Didn't meet The Rock. So the two I never met, the three I never met were The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and Bret Hart.
That you haven't met?
Didn't meet him. Yeah, have not met him.
Well, Bret Hart's dead, right?
No, he's alive. His brother's dead.
Oh, his brother's
dead. Yeah, Bret's alive.
So you met Anvil?
I did meet the Anvil. Yep. Okay. I met Jim the Anvil Neidhart. He's dead.
You from what I remember, you were a big Mankind fan.
Really?
No, you weren't. You were, right?
I mean, I could have
in high school. I sort of remember you as a wrestling nut in high school.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So it's awesome that your passion led you to WWE.
Yeah, no, I grew up watching wrestling. My grandmother got me into it, and then I just kept watching it. And I was the guy that always had like a friend or two that I could like drag into the wrestling that would be into it.
So who was that friend in high school?
Ray and Scott were probably those. Scott was probably the one that through high school was a little bit more into it.
Ray is the one who
who passed. Right? Passed our senior year.
That's sad.
Yeah. When we were kids, Ray was get Ray into wrestling, and like Alex Mader and Brandon Marcraft and all those guys.
All these names are coming back, and
we used to all hang out together and watch wrestling and have sleepovers where we wrestled all night and watch these tapes.
Wrestled all night.
Yeah, wrestled all night and watch these tapes and stuff. And my first like big birthday party at the house was WrestleMania 8 for my 9th birthday, and my parents lined the living room with cardboard. And Joey Brown got a bloody nose, and someone hit him with a chair.
Joe Brown?
Yeah, Joe Brown. Someone hit him with a chair. So I was always the wrestling guy. And then would just try and bring other people. I had some friends that were like super into it. I don't know if you remember like some older guys like Leon Osowski or Brian Clayton or Harold Gant or John Smalls.
Harold Gant,
yeah. So those guys they were like seniors when we were freshmen, and they were really into wrestling, and they could drive, when we were freshmen. And so
Okay.
I used to hang out with them.
Where did you live?
I grew up in South Ambler. That was really like my first like hang with like older kids and like, hang with these 18-year-olds at someone's house just watching wrestling. And then they come and bring and take you home at 11 o'clock at night or, 11:30 at night. That was like,
yeah, they're good guys.
Yeah, that was like as mischievous as I got back in those days was hanging with those guys till like 11:30. And my mom would just be like,
wrestling.
Yeah, watching wrestling or, the occasional like driving around, hitting hills and stuff. And that's when my friends were very into, making their car go. Vroom, vroom. Didn't mean anything, but they were into making it do that. And jumping hills and train tracks and stuff. And come home at 11:30. Your mom just goes, "Where the fuck have you been?" And you're not drunk. You're not high. You're just like, I was just riding around the back seat with friends. That was it.
Wrestling.
Yeah, talking wrestling and listening to wrestling theme music. And yeah, that was it.
She probably wanted to hear that you were drinking. And
sometimes I think so. I think especially like even now, she's always wants to know like who am I dating or whatever. Like she's always wants to know that I'm doing something in life that's like progressing things forward socially. I think.
Yeah. No. This podcast for sure.
She's a big fan of the podcast.
And you have a voice for it. So
thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. For years, people always used to say that like I have a radio voice, and previously I was doing like some voiceover stuff and doing production, and so I would always do voiceover stuff because it's just easiest to pick me. But then I'd always think like, how come no one like? I wish I could just get a voice job, but no one's really heard my voice. So like now this is a great vehicle to just put my voice out there, and maybe
that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You sound like a typical like a white guy.
Yeah. That's it's funny because that's like what I said with Mike Clyburn, and he said he was just kind of always taught that way, and I dealt with that a lot. I hated how my voice, and I can switch it up. I can chameleon if I feel pressed. But
it seemed like before you press the record button,
yeah.
As soon as you pressed it, I think your voice got deeper.
Oh, maybe. I'm probably trying to be calmer, and I really so when I'm doing these podcasts, I really work hard at talking slower and not interrupting. I'm a power talker, and so it's really easy for me to just start talking and just start going like this, and just start going and going. But then I won't let you get a word in, or I'll keep cutting you off. And so for me, just to kind of like this is just me, just chilling, hanging, talking, whatever. But if I a little bit more less interviewy and more like whatever, the voice will just start going up like this, but it goes back and forth a lot. And I'm like the prince of conversation.
No, you're a natural.
Thanks, man.
Oh, you got a nice setup here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Really digging it.
Thanks, dude.
Nice.
Is there anything that you want to, we talked like a good amount of time here.
Did we?
Yeah. Is there
it's going to be edited into what, like 20 minutes?
15. No, we have like an hour and a half. It'll probably be like, close to an hour.
Did you go to the last reunion?
Nope. Never gone. Have you ever gone to the reunion?
I went to the 5-year reunion.
How was that? Was that the one in here in the city?
Yeah, it was in the city. I forget exactly where.
Yeah.
The 10-year I wanted to go. I was planning to go, but didn't go.
Yeah. Was there any reason or just didn't make it?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the reason was, but didn't end up going. I hope there's another reunion. It'd be nice to. We're
coming up on 20. I'm sure there will be. Danielle was kind of hoping the same thing, that there would be something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could help you get people on here,
I would love it. I honestly, where I'm going to really need help?
Who? Where?
Asians.
Asian.
Here's a real question. Honest to God question. The bulk of Korean students who didn't speak great English.
Okay.
Have they learned English more?
Can you elaborate? Can you say a name?
Kidam.
He passed last year.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, he had cancer.
No.
So it was a very hard time, especially for me and of course his family.
Wow. Man, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I had no.
It was a very tough time.
Wow.
And going through that, I was there with him going through all that. And that's where I sort of lost faith in the system and like the hospitals and stuff like that.
Wow.
But,
Jeez, man. I'm really sorry to even bring it up that way.
yeah, no, you didn't know. So,
Man.
but yeah, it's just it was a tough part of my life, and still think about it.
It was just a year
It
ago?
was my best man at my wedding.
Really?
Yeah, so
Wow, it was just a year ago?
a year ago. Yeah,
Man, that's tough. I'm really sorry to hear that.
yeah. And ever since that point, like I don't think I would ever be the same. And that's
It changed
and
you.
oh, for sure. Like these past couple years have been very tough.
Yeah. I remember, well, yeah, when Ray died, that was, it completely changed, my chemistry and everything that I did. I just did things completely different.
Hmm.
Changed my life. So I know a little bit of where you're coming from, from that side.
Yeah. Like honestly, to that point, I was very never an emotional person, but till this day, like driving to work, like if it just comes up, I just start tearing up, and
Mm,
you know, it had a bigger effect on me than I realized or expected.
yeah.
So,
Um, man, I remember, man, Keaton was like, I remember Keaton very early, in school, when he came to Wissahickon.
yeah,
Because he's one of the first students one of the first Korean students that struck out in my head coming here.
yeah, he had a very strong personality.
Yeah. Um, and oh God, I'm trying to think of who he used to hang out with. Because
with me,
there was someone else, and
June Min.
yep, that's it. Because I did not get along great with June, but Kidam was so,
Why didn't you get along with June? I still
um,
see him, June.
nothing that June did. I think I was just a jerk to him.
Uh-huh.
I think I was probably like I said, Asian kid.
Do you
Right?
want to hash this right now? Should I call him?
I don't want. I would love to do a face to face. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
How's June's? So June didn't speak a lot of English, growing up at least.
Uh-huh.
Does he now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I guess what I was wondering was like, and really more from from a listener standpoint, have people like started to learn English? Have people learned English? Did they want to learn English?
Yeah, they do. But like till this day, I still speak to him in Korean.
Yeah.
There's some people that I always just speak to in Korean.
Yeah.
It just comes more natural.
Right.
Not that he can't or
Yeah.
whatever, but
Yeah.
it just comes natural in that sense.
Junmin was very quiet,
Mhm.
and so very few words, and so
Very good
rarely,
guy.
very rarely were any of those words English.
Mhm.
Simple one word answers, which understandably, you're just learning.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I was kind of curious about that. Like,
Well, it makes it harder when you have a lot of Korean friends and you're not exposed to, speaking to people in English. But
mhm,
I'm sure that played a toll. But
yeah, um, that's why I'm so surprised. Like when you said it was easy for you to pick it up, because
I was very young,
like everyone just always says
and
like
I didn't have
English
that Korean
is
click when I was 5. So
yeah, but everyone just says all the time like English is so hard because we talk fast, we combine words, we have sayings of stuff that aren't actual things that you learn. We have multiple words that mean completely different. There's one word that means the same
sound
thing.
different.
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah,
pronounced differently.
yeah.
So in that aspect, it is a tougher language to learn.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah, yeah,
grew up here, so
yeah.
I didn't really feel that. Holy Grace Lee.
Grace Lee.
That's
Wow.
June.
Do you ever look at the yearbook ever?
No, I can't
Never.
even find mine.
You were on it. Where I handed you, you were right there.
No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I see me.
Oh, you mean you can't even find your yearbook?
No, I can't find my yearbook now. Brings back good memories.
Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of kids in here, and I just go, I don't think I know that person at all.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
And some people, I don't even have a
There's
clue.
you.
There I am.
Little chubby guy.
Yep. I don't even have a clue like where to start finding certain people.
Oh, you should get a tool here.
A tool?
Yeah. I used to always call him a fool. And he used to always call me like a sheep. That's funny.
I used to,
You want me to sign?
Yeah, sign it.
What was my quote? Only the spoon knows what it's stirring.
It's very philosophical.
Yeah. Maybe it had some deeper meaning back then. Only the spoon knows what is stirring in the pot.
Yeah. It's a very philosophical. I feel like that could be on a painting on a wall. Dance like no one is watching. Laugh like you've never laughed before, or whatever.
I don't know where I got that quote, but I don't even know why I said thank you, God.
Well, you mentioned, I mean, you were very,
Like I am
religion
anti-religious now.
but religion would seem to be like a very strong part of your life growing up.
More in the social aspect, not I guess in the religious sense.
Right.
Now I think it's just more harm than good.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Well, you signed it? Did you sign it?
Yes, I did sign it.
All right. Well, thank you for signing it. Thank you for coming.
No, thank you for having me.
Give us a clean plug for your shops, for your two shops here.
Okay. So the name's Good Vibes Vape and Smoke Shop in Bensalem. We're located 1564 Bristol Pike, Bensalem, PA. Open 11 to 9 every day. And if anybody wants to come stop by, say hi. Yeah.
Nice.
Come by. I would like you to come by.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'll hook you up with some CBD.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Maybe I can put something on the Instagram when I go there.
Yeah, for sure. And follow us on Instagram.
What's your Instagram?
Good Vibes Philadelphia.
Perfect.
Follow us. Like all my posts.
Well, I'll link it up on the We Weren't Friends Instagram.
Yeah, stop by and write a review on Google. It helps.
Awesome. And do you want to promote the secondary shop?
Yes, Oz Garage. Open 10 to 5. But
perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
All right. That was Aram Lee. I had so many questions and I just didn't know how to ask them because I didn't really know Aram going into this. And like I said, I think maybe I was a little bit groggy just starting off, having just woken up from a nap from day drinking. But I was a little nervous just getting into the whole topic of race and his culture and talking about the stereotypes that I kind of saw around school and the segregation that I thought took place, and just wanting to know what his life was like. And I didn't want to insult him, and of course he wasn't insulted. We had great conversation. And Aram is a funny guy. And if you're in the Bensalem or in the Norristown area and you want to check out Oz Garage or Good Vibes, make sure you do that. They have Facebook pages, and I've got to go there because Aram's got some awesome hoodies. So he said if I come to the shop, he's going to hook me up with a hoodie. So I still want to hold you to that, Aram. Obviously, you heard the moment there where I learned that one of our classmates and Aram's best man in his wedding, Ki-Dam Kim, had passed away a little over a year ago. Pretty shocking to me. I felt bad about just the whole way that we were going into it. But I continued talking to Aram about Ki-Dam and learning a little bit more about his life after high school and what he went through. And I definitely feel for Aram losing one of his best friends and still dealing with that loss today. So just continued thoughts going out to Aram and all of Ki-Dam's family and friends. So as I was, saying, Aram and I continued talking, and after the show ended, and at some point Aram says, what are you doing tonight? And I said, this is pretty much it. This is what my night is. Just hanging with you here, doing the interview. And Aram says, you want to see some Asian shit? And I said, yeah, sure. So he takes me to his buddy's shop in Rittenhouse Square and hang out with a couple guys there, and very nice guys. And then we drive around a little bit and go to Chinatown, get some chicken, and have some really just awesome conversation about the podcast and business and some awesome point of views that Aram was able to give me. And we're driving through Chinatown afterwards, and we just kind of stop in the middle of the street in Aram's car, and Aram rolls down the window and he points and he goes, "There's James Yu." James Yu is a classmate of ours, graduated in 2001 with us. At some point, I would hope to be on the show. But at this point, I think that the podcast is 2 episodes in when this is going on. And so he rolls down the window and he's like, "Look, James Yu." And James comes slowly walking. James is standing in a group of people. Is this, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, something like that. And James comes walking off the sidewalk, walking in the middle of the street towards Aram's car. And he just looks in and he goes, Aram? And then he gets a little bit closer and he just, Brad Corbett? And then Aram just drives off. He just leaves him. That was it. So it was a great night, fun time, and just capped off kind of perfectly. So thanks, Aram, again, for a great interview, great night afterwards in Chinatown, and I look forward to hanging out with you again soon. In 2 weeks, my guest will be Fanda. Almost interesting because he came to America from England in high school, and he's also Indian. And so we'll get his story of not just coming to America and the struggle of finding friends, but actually finding his way into what I think I would consider the cool kid crowd. I don't know, the cream of the crop, the upper echelon of high school kids, the ones that had girlfriends, the ones that partied, the ones that excelled in school sports. That is the crowd that Alma found himself in after a year or so of being at Wissahickon. And so we have a really great conversation. He's really open and honest and sharing what that life was like with his group of friends and letting me in a little bit on some of the guilty pleasures of what I was missing out on in high school. In addition, he's also going to tell us about some of the things that he's been going through since then, some serious stuff, some medical conditions, and inform us just a little bit about some of the things that he's been dealing with over the past bunch of years. And so a great conversation, really different perspective, and just another awesome interview that I can't wait to share with you guys. So that will be in 2 weeks on a Monday morning. We Weren't Friends in High School is the Instagram, at WWF in High School is the Twitter, and I'm at REDSHIRTPLAYA. You can subscribe to this podcast anywhere and everywhere podcasts are available. And all right, I think that is it. Thank you guys for the last bunch of weeks, everyone that's been finding the podcast, and everyone that's just been reaching out. It's been really fun. I just got done a couple of interviews last weekend, and I can tell you guys still a lot more great interviews to come. All right, that'll be it for me. I'll see everyone in 2 weeks on a Monday morning with my guest, Fanda.